Throughout history, the world has been shaped by bold personalities who dared to rewrite the rules and challenge what everyone believed was possible. In 1946, a boy was born into a wealthy New York family. From the very beginning, he was surrounded by ambition, wealth, and the relentless power of the American dream. His father, Fred Trump, was a successful real estate developer who built affordable housing across New York. And young Donald watched and learned every single lesson about deals and money. Growing up in Queens, New York, he lived in a world of construction sites, business handshakes, and the relentless, unstoppable energy of a great city constantly being built and rebuilt. His parents sent him to a military academy where strict discipline, fierce competition, and relentless physical and mental challenges shaped his character and sharpened his iron will. After graduating from college, he joined his father's real estate company and immediately began pushing for bigger projects, bolder ambitions, and deals far beyond anything his father had imagined. But Queens wasn't nearly enough for his enormous ambitions. He set his sights firmly on Manhattan, the most competitive and ruthless real estate market in the entire world. He started making deals that nobody thought a young man in his 20s could pull off, turning neglected abandoned properties into glittering monuments of wealth and ambition and success. Then came his greatest and most audacious vision yet. He began building Trump Tower, a magnificent skyscraper that would put his name permanently on the legendary New York City skyline. When the tower was finally completed, it became an instant iconic landmark, a shimmering golden symbol of raw ambition, rising high above the legendary Fifth Avenue. But one tower was never going to be enough for a man like him. He expanded his growing empire into casinos, luxury hotels, and extravagant resorts across the entire country and beyond. In Atlantic City, he built massive, glittering casino resorts that drew millions of visitors and gamblers and turned him into one of the biggest and most powerful names in the gambling industry. He became a true New York celebrity and icon. His face was on every magazine, his name was on towering buildings, and absolutely everyone in America knew exactly who Donald Trump was. Magazine covers, newspaper headlines, and television interviews made him one of the most recognized, most talked about, and most controversial businessmen in all of America. But then came the devastating crash and financial crisis. His empire was drowning in billions of dollars of crushing debt, and the banks were closing in from every single direction. He was standing on the very edge of losing absolutely everything he had ever built in his entire life. The media declared him completely finished, and the whole world watched and waited. But Donald Trump absolutely refused to go down without a fight. He negotiated fiercely, restructured his massive debts, and clawed his way back from the very brink of total financial ruin. Slowly but surely, with relentless determination, he rebuilt his empire. Deal by deal, property by property, he fought his way back to the very top of the business world once again. New luxury hotels, gleaming new towers, and ambitious new developments rose from the ground all across the country. His empire was growing again, bigger and more powerful than ever before. He turned his own name into the most powerful brand in business. The word Trump appeared on buildings, steaks, vodka, and absolutely everything he could possibly sell. Then television came calling, with an opportunity that would change everything. NBC offered him a groundbreaking reality show called The Apprentice, and it transformed his entire public image overnight. His signature phrase became absolutely legendary across the entire nation. Two powerful words that echoed across America every single week and made him a household name in every living room. He wasn't just a businessman anymore. He had become America's most famous and most recognizable business mogul, a larger-than-life character that tens of millions of people loved to watch. The show ran for season after season, year after year, turning him into an entertainment empire of his very own, reaching massive audiences that business deals alone never could have reached. He was absolutely everywhere, on television screens, at celebrity events and galas, living the most public, extravagant, and talked about life that anyone could possibly imagine. But behind the glittering celebrity persona, a very different and much larger ambition was quietly growing. He began talking openly and seriously about running for the highest office in the land. For years, people debated and wondered whether he was truly serious about entering the brutal world of politics. Slowly but surely, his political ambitions grew louder and far more determined. Then in June of 2015, he made history. He rode down a famous golden escalator and boldly announced to the entire world that he was running for president of the United States of America. What started as a campaign that many people dismissed and laughed off as nothing more than a publicity stunt quickly became the most explosive and unpredictable political movement in modern American history. His rallies drew absolutely massive crowds, unlike anything American politics had ever seen. Tens of thousands of passionate who truly believed he would shake up Washington and change everything. On the national debate stage, he dominated with a raw, aggressive style, breaking every single rule of traditional politics with pure, unstoppable force. One by one, his political opponents fell away in defeat. Primary election after primary election, he won stunning, decisive victories that shocked and stunned the entire political establishment to its very core. He officially secured the Republican nomination for president, completing what many called a hostile takeover of an entire political party. The general election campaign was the most divisive and intensely watched political campaign in an entire generation, splitting the country into two fiercely passionate and bitterly opposing sides. On election night in November 2016, the entire world watched in absolute shock and disbelief as the results poured in state by state, defying every single poll and prediction that the experts had made. Against all odds, against all expectations, and against every prediction, Donald Trump won the presidency of the United States. It was the most stunning and extraordinary political upset in modern American history. On January 20th, 2017, he stood on the steps of the United States Capitol building and solemnly took the oath of office as the 45th President of the United States of America. He walked through the doors of the White House as the very first person in American history ever elected to the presidency with absolutely no prior political experience or military service whatsoever. From his very first day in office, he governed with bold executive orders and dramatic sweeping decisions that thrilled his devoted supporters and deeply outraged his fierce opponents in equal measure. He sat across the table from the most powerful world leaders on the planet, negotiated historic trade deals, and put his unmistakable personal stamp on American foreign policy in ways both controversial and bold. His presidency was unlike absolutely anything that America had ever experienced in its entire history. Every single day in office brought new fierce battles, explosive headlines, and unprecedented national controversy. Throughout it all, he never once stopped rallying his base of passionate, loyal supporters. They remained fiercely devoted, packing massive arenas and cheering loudly for the man they believed in completely. When his first term in the White House came to its end, he left the presidency, but he never left the national spotlight, remaining the single most dominant and powerful force in all of American politics. Life after the presidency was anything but quiet or ordinary for Donald Trump. He continued to command enormous national attention and wield extraordinary political influence, like no former president ever before him. His political influence only grew stronger and more powerful with each passing year. He remained the single most powerful and dominant voice in his party and completely reshaped its entire identity in his own image. Whether deeply loved or intensely hated, his profound and lasting impact on American politics is completely undeniable. He changed the rules of the political game forever and entirely rewrote the American political playbook. From the gleaming golden towers of Manhattan to the historic hallowed halls of the White House, his extraordinary journey across decades redefined what is truly possible in the great land of opportunity. One man, one relentless, unstoppable drive. One extraordinary, impossible journey from businessman to president that proved once and for all that in America, anything is possible if you absolutely refuse to give up.